Hi, Julie here, and thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel today. Today I'm going to start a Christmas journal. This journal is part of my design team work for Sunflowers and Doors. Okay, so this is the kit that I'm going to be working with. This is, I haven't printed out all of the pages. There's 12 ephemera pages and 15 journal pages, so I don't think I'll be using them all, but I've got them there if I want to print them out and use them in the future, or even if I want to use them in this journal. But I just thought I'd show you the papers and the ephemera before I started cutting them up. So that is one. As I said, there's 15 of these, so, and they're a beautiful vintage Christmas style. Beautiful angel. There's a fair amount of green in this collection, but yeah, I quite like the green actually. It's not a bright leery green. There's Santa working away at his desk. I've got the Nutcracker. I have printed on the back of all of these. That one, for some reason, I didn't do borderless, but I've done all the others borderless, and I've just printed on the back with like coffee dye thing pattern. So that, I love this page. Santa's beautiful, and the notebook, and the Nutcracker. I mean, I might even use that. Just cut him out and use him as an embellishment, and just use this as a separate page. And then we've got the deer. That's really cute. I mean, we don't have reindeers like this in Australia, but I really love that picture. And here is a collage page. Now this can go both ways. The print's that way, the print's that way, the print's that way. So it's non-directional really, doesn't matter which way you put it. Although they've got a bird there, I probably wouldn't like to see him sitting on his head. Then we're starting on, now as I said, I haven't printed all of the pattern papers. There are more. How many have I got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's another 6 pages of pattern paper. That there, I know that there's one like this that's got an owl here, and there's another one that's got like a robin up here. So that's 2 more that I can think of, but they're so beautiful I can't remember them all. This is an ephemera page, so we've got 12 ephemera pages. I printed this one borderless, but I had already resized it on the page, and I've lost bits of that, so I have to reprint this page. But I can still use these, you know, I can still use those. It's only these down here that I can't really use. Some pockets. Beautiful. All of the images, they're all gorgeous images. There's this page that's got some little clusters, some washi strips, and a corner cluster, or a page cluster, page edge cluster. This I've printed in 2 sizes, so that I've printed it so like full size there. So there's a large one, and then I've printed 2 at half size, like 2 to a page. I love them, I love them. This one I've also printed in 2 sizes, so this is 2 at A5, and this one is the full A4 size page. But they are gorgeous. And I've got some tags here. They're large tags. I think there's another sheet of large tags. I don't know why I didn't print that out, but I think there is. And also these 2 to a, oh well, this is the size they are. This is 1 page, so I just printed this straight out. I mean, you could make them larger and print them if you wanted to. But I love the tree, I love the tree. Alright, so they're the pages I'm going to be working with in my Christmas journal. So, yeah, now let's get started. Oh, I forgot to mention, all of these embellishment pages I have printed on 250 GSM, and all of my journal pages I've printed on 110 GSM, so they're a bit sturdier than their normal 80 GSM. So I've decided to make 2 journals. I've got enough here to make 2, and I have fussy cut all of the embellishments that I've printed, so I've got them all ready to go as well. So what I'm going to do to start with, I'm going to have 8 A4 pages in each journal, which will give me 32 pages, if you know what I mean. So first of all, I'm going to fold these in half. As I said, I have printed on the back with coffee dyed paper. Well, yeah, I've just printed a coffee dyed paper image on the back. And now I'm going to fold all my pages in half. Now, this is going to be my front cover on this particular journal, and I'm going to have 1 printed page, 1 coffee dyed page. So they will go in between. I like to try and get my pages fairly accurately lined up, although of course being a junk journal that's not a necessity. So there will be a reasonable amount of writing space in these journals. I was thinking that it could be a pretty good journal for your December daily. And of course I will put extra writing space in these as far as, you know, journaling cards and things like that are concerned. So there'll be plenty of room to write all about your December festivities and activities. So these prints are just gorgeous, aren't they? So how is everybody? I guess December is catching up on us pretty quickly, isn't it? It won't be long now. Well, I think it's less than 6 weeks to Christmas, so better get a wriggle on. I was going to put my Christmas tree up the other day, but I just didn't quite have it in me to do that, so it didn't get done. I'll have to do that sometime through the next few days. Now I'm starting on my second journal, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So I'll go ahead and do that. You don't need to watch me do it twice, I don't think, do you? So each of these journals actually will be exactly the same inside. So I will do 1 on camera and 1 off camera, so that you're not watching me do the same thing all the time. So yeah, I'll come back when I finish folding up my papers. Okay, so I have folded all my pages over, and I have taken them all to the sewing machine, and I've stitched around the edge of each and every page. So my signatures basically are ready. Now this is a couple of days later, and I had forgotten that I'd planned on making 2 journals, and I now proceed to make just 1 journal with 2 signatures. So I've got 2 signatures, each with 8 A4 sheets in them. So I've got a pattern, and then I've got a coffee dyed paper, then another pattern, coffee dyed paper, pattern, coffee dyed paper, pattern and coffee dyed paper. Same for the other one. And I plan on putting an envelope in the middle of the signature. So that's the 2 signatures I've got there. Now I'm going to work on the cover. Just let me put those out of the way. So I'm going to make a fabric cover, and I'm going to have this calico on the inside, and I'm going to have this on the outside. Now this is quite a bulky knit fabric, and I made myself a jacket out of it actually, and these are just the offcuts, and unfortunately they are not big enough to wrap around my journal. They're high enough, just you can see there it doesn't quite make it. So my plan is to take them both to the centre, so cut them so that they, actually that might not, oh yes it will just work. So yeah, I'm going to cut them off here and join them here, and then I'll put some lace over that to hide the join. So that's my plan. Now to do that, I'm going to put a piece of this watercolour paper in between the 2. Let's see if that's not going to be big enough. And I'm going to make my cover 8.5 inches high by 12.5 inches long. So that's why I need this A3 paper, and plus I like to use the watercolour paper because it's thicker and it gives more body to you. So it's got to be 12.5 that way, so I can cut it off at 8.5 this way. That's not going to work, is it? So I need to cut it off at 12.5 this way. I don't think that's going to fit either, but I will do that. So 12.5. And then 8.5. Oh yeah, because this cut is 13 inches long, so that's handy. Okay, so we've got some scraps of watercolour paper there. Now I'm going to use some iron-on interfacing to add my fabrics to my background. I got it from Spotlight, and you buy it by the metre, and you simply, here's the instructions here. Double side iron interfacing, rough side down first, then peel the backing paper, or iron on, and then peel the backing paper off, and then iron on your second layer. So I can't do that on screen, unfortunately, because well, you have to iron it, and I can't get my ironing set up in here. So what I have to do is cut this to this length. Let's see if I can find a pencil. Never find a pencil when you need one, can you? So let's just use something else. I might make it a little bit longer. I don't want to have my edges missing out. I want to make sure I get right to the edge. So I'm going to cut it about there, and I'm going to cut it for the length so I've got a little bit of a hangover, a little bit of overhang on each edge. So I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to take this to my ironing board and attach this to one side and this to the other side, like so. And then I'm going to peel the backing off. Well, that's not right. What happens is I have to use 2 sheets of this iron-on Vilene or iron-on interfacing. I use 1 sheet, iron that onto the watercolour paper, then peel it off and attach this to that side. Then I turn it over, add another piece of the double-sided interfacing and add this to it. Okay, so I just thought I'd show you, I have ironed the interfacing onto my one side of my watercolour paper, and now I can peel the backing off, and that leaves a gluey texture there. I don't know whether you can actually see it, probably not, but it feels rough. And now when I peel that off, I lay my fabric on here, and I will just mark the centre so I know where, say 6.5, so 6 1/4. So 6 1/4 is where I want to line my edges up for my front cover, because as I said I have to butt them up to each other, so half will go on and half will go off. Alright, now I'll go and iron that on and then I'll come back. Okay, so that's ironed onto there now, and you can see it actually pulled apart a little bit in the ironing process, so I'm not that pleased about that, but as I said, I plan on putting some lace or a doily or something over that, so it will not show. And if it does show, I can always put a bit of red texture or something in there to disguise it a little bit. So now what I have to do is trim this off to be the same size as the cardstock. Actually, I think I need to iron this a little more, because I can see it's not attached in some places. So I will trim this down. I thought about folding them over, but they didn't come in far enough. They didn't meet, and it was too big a gap to cover up with the spine. So I was thinking I might be able to fold them in like that, but no. Okay, so now what I have to do is put the interfacing on this side and then put the calico on this side. So I'll do that and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've ironed my calico onto the back of my cover. Now I just need to trim it down. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to zigzag around the whole outside edge. Okay, so I've stitched all around. I did a row of straight stitching very close to the edge, and then I did a row of zigzag just as a bit of a decorative finish. Now I'm just going to trim off all those loose threads. I don't mind these threads down here. Now so there's my cover. And my signatures will fit in there, like so. So I'm going to measure out my places to put my signatures. So I'm going to put them just either side of this. I'm only going to have, so I'm going to put one signature there and one signature there. So I've got 1, 2, 3/8 between them. So I've got 6 1/8 and 6 1/2. And put the same measurement down here, 6 1/8 and 6 1/2. So that gives me 6 1/8 from that side and 6 1/8 from that side. So if I draw a line down there, no, that's where my signature is to go. And then I'm going to mark this way. So I've got 8 1/2. So I'm going to find 4 1/4 there. 4 1/4 is there. And then I'm going to go down, say, 3 inches and 3 inches up. And that's where I'm going to put my holes. So down from there 3 inches and up from there 3 inches. Okay, so that's where I'm going to put my signatures. So I'm just getting my mat and my awl. There we go. So, one here, push it through, and of course it went right through the, oh no, and here, 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 and here. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to try rubbing those marks out. See if they do come off, and they do. I mean, they'll be hidden behind the signature anyway, but I may as well take them out if I can. Need a bit of a brush, don't I, to get that off of there. Need to run over it with my little sticky thing that, you know, takes the fluff off your clothes. So I'm not going to worry about rubbing that side out because I don't really need to. Now, let's work on our signatures. So what we need to do is, well, I'll mark this first. So this is the same size, so 8 1/4. So I need to find 4 1/8 there. Then move 3 inches down and 3 up. And I'll do the same for the, oh, I can't stitch these in until I've made my envelopes. I'll mark this. I won't mark it because I'll have to mark my envelopes. Alright, so I need to make some envelopes first. So let's do that. I've got some, I thought I might use that one and that one for the envelopes. So I want my envelope to be, probably about 6 inches high, and let's have a look what we got here. My paper is only 8 1/4 inches wide, so I can't go any wider than 8 1/4. So I can do a 6 1/2 by 3 1/2. I can do a 6 by 4. I want it a bit wider. Six by 4 is about the biggest I can go. I can do a 6 1/2 by 3 1/2, but I think I'll go for the 6 by 4. So I need 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 and start at 3 3/8. So I need to trim this down. And a quarter. And this one's going to be 8 1/4 as well. Now that one with this one. And I'm going to start at, what did I say? 3 3/8. 3 3/8. So let's start at 3 3/8, which is there. Score. Punch and score. Punch and score. And it's a bit hard to find the score line on these pattern papers. I think I've got it there. Punch and score. And then we can round the corner. Round all the corners. It's got a bit bent up. Now this one I think I'll do the other side up because it's easier to see. So 3 3/8, which is there. Okay, so that's our envelopes, but I will need to ink around these. Okay, so now I'm going to put one of these in the centre of each one of my signatures. Right, so I've finally got that sorted out. And that has to open out like that. Now, I'm going to measure. I've got 8 1/4, so I want 4 1/8. There, 4 1/8. And then 3 inches down from that. And 3 inches up from that. Okay, so once again, poke some holes in that. So this one is going to be, say, our second. Now, put a needle here with a big eye. I'm going to use some of this waxed thread, but I don't want it to be stark white, so they say 2 times the length, but I'm going to do 3 times the length just to be on the safe side, and I'll do 2 of those because I've got 2 signatures. And I want to colour these a bit, so I'm going to get my mat, my silicone mat, and I'm going to put, do I want brown or do I want red? I think I'll just go for the vintage photo. Put that down on my mat. Now, when I do colour this, I'm not too fussed about it being perfectly even. Let's mix that up a little bit. Looks pretty dark, doesn't it? Maybe a little bit more water. Okay, and just pop that in there and roll it all around. As I said, I'm not worried if it's not all even coloured. Having this all wet now does mean that I won't be able to attach my signatures until it's dry. So I'm going to set this aside to dry and then I'll come back. My cord is not completely dry, but you know, impatience gets the better of you, doesn't it? Okay, so we're just going to do the standard 3-hole pamphlet stitch, which is in from the middle, or out through the middle, out from the inside to the outside. Right. In through the bottom hole. Up to the top hole. And out through the top hole. Pulling that fairly firmly, and then back in through the middle hole on the opposite side of that. That way. So now I want to pull that so that I know that everything is nice and firm. So over here we've got a nice straight firm thread, and in here we've got a nice straight firm thread, and then we've got one coming out each side of this centre one, and I'm going to tie a knot, and then another knot, and then I can trim them off. Let me see if I can find a pair of scissors that will cut okay. So I'm just going to trim them off short for the time being. Okay, so we can take these off and see how we fared. Okay, right, so that's the front one as it turns out. Okay, now I'm going to put the next one in. So first of all I'm going to make these holes a little bigger so I can get my needle and thread through. Okay, so that's the cover ready to take the next signature. Now I need to get the holes in the signature, don't I? Now, which way do I want this envelope to open? So, like that, or like that probably, because then at least the house is up the right way. I'm going to put that more towards the bottom of this signature. Now, let's get my ruler, and I'm going to try and pull these in as much as possible. I want these all pulled back firmly. what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line there so that I can see that I've got this lined up properly, and I'm poking my holes line through there. Right, now let's put some clips on here. And now I need to measure. I've got my line there. So I need to measure 4 1/8. Where's my pencil? There. And then go down 3 inches and up 3 inches. And there we go. Let's poke these holes in. There's my awl. Yeah, on that. Two. 3. And let's make those holes a bit bigger. The needle to go through. Bring my cover back in and thread up my wax thread. And we can bind that in, so in through the middle. Pull that through. In through the top. It doesn't really make any difference whether you go up or down with this. You can go like in through the bottom or the top. It's not going to make any difference. Okay, then straight down to the bottom. And through this bottom hole here. And then back in through the middle hole. Put that on the other side and pull that through. Now, I'm no expert on binding, so if you're looking for a more slick video on binding, You might want to do a search on YouTube for it. There's heaps of people out there that do it. I'm tying some nice tight knots there. Yes. Oh, I hope I've got this in the right way up. I don't think I have. That's the right way. Oh yeah, I have. Oh, that was fluke, because I didn't check that. So, yeah, that's a little trick. Make sure that you do check when you are putting your signatures in that you've got them both facing up the same way. Alright, so we can chop that off. And that, of course, will create an envelope which I will seal up, and that will hide most of our binding cord. Like so. Okay, so there we go. I've got my two signatures, I've got my cover done, and actually I'm thinking that I might go around this with some ink, some red ink, just on the edges, and disguise those white, or that calico there. And when I come to decorate the cover, I will of course cover this up with a doily or lace or something there. So there we go, that's the start of my Christmas journal. So I'm quite happy with it. Lots of pretty pictures in there, plenty of writing space. So I mean, there's lots and lots of writing space. All of the blank pages, of course, can be written on. You could even write on that. But I will embellish some of these and make some embellishments to go on them, some pockets and things like that. So that's our first journal. I'm wondering whether I want to do something there or whether I'm happy with that. We'll wait and see. Okay, so yeah, so that's it. Beautiful digitals and coffee dyed paper. Okay, so that's my video for today. I will be working on this video, journal in the next few videos, so you'll be able to watch it to all come together. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it at the moment. As I said, I'm going to do something about that calico colour. But there we go. Alright, well, I hope you've enjoyed this video showing you how I've put together my Christmas journal. So I don't actually use a journal, and all of the journals that I do make, I just put them in my Etsy shop for sale. So this one will also go in there when it's finished. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope you can join me when I post my next one. Okay, bye.